Welcome to BADM 614, Health Services Management. So this is the final week of the course, so week 8. It's been a fast 8 weeks. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like it's been, just rolling on through like nonstop. But hey, we're here, so let's go ahead and move on here and talk about our agenda. So we're going to recap chapters 15 and 16. You guys have already had that reading from last week. And then we're also going to talk about the future reading, or the reading you should be doing this week. So chapter 17, 18, and 19. And then we'll talk about a course survey that I have for you guys. This is the first time the course has been ran. So I want your feedback, anonymous feedback. That way we can figure out what needs to be adjusted. Trying to come up with something something new is always an interesting experience. What we think would go well sometimes doesn't. What we thought would go horribly goes really well. And, the whole spectrum in between. But let's see what chapter 15 has for us. Negotiation and conflict. So negotiation is really based on logic and emotion. It's never 100% logical or 100% emotional. There's usually some spectrum there. So logical, we're looking at just the facts. We could, for example, I'm more of a logical person, but my wife is more emotional. My son is more emotional right now. Hopefully, he'll develop his logical side. I mean, he's only 22 months, so he'll get there. But it's negotiating with people that lean towards one side or the other. You have to change your style. I mean, you can throw facts at an emotional person, but they don't care about the facts. They're concerned about how they're feeling, or, how others will be feeling, or, things like that. I'm not the emotional type. So that way, I mean, I really can't speak very deeply into this, but the logical side, you show me all the numbers, I'll make a decision based on that. And I might be in favor of what you're trying to negotiate or not based on my opinion of your numbers. But, it can vary in the type of negotiation we're trying to do. So we have 4 major ones that our book used. So accommodation, we're trying to make sure that the other side gets a little bit, but we're winning, but we want to make sure they win, or they're really dead set on something, and we're like, okay, well, that's not a big deal. We'll go ahead and let them have that one. It depends on what it is. Competition, this is that us versus them. Anything less than complete victory seems like a loss, and certain people feel this way more than others. The more of an alpha type personality you are, the more you feel in negotiation it's a competition. But these people generally, I hate to say it, but kind of like burn their bridges when they do that kind of style, because no one wants to negotiate with them because they didn't get anything out of the deal, or they got very minimal in it. So the next one we have is compromise. So we are maybe making a decision in a negotiation that we don't want to make, but we're compromising for the greater good or something like that. It can vary. Like if my wife and I are going to watch a movie, I could recommend a movie, then she recommends a movie, and then we compromise and we watch her movie. That's just kind of a simplistic view of it, but I'm trying to move towards that collaboration with my wife, especially in movie picking, where maybe we pick something that we both want to watch, that we both can get a win-win out of it. I might want the action, she wants the romance. Maybe we get one of those movies that has both in it. It's something to work on. But both sides can win. So we want to look for that win-win outcome. The win-win is going to make us have more success in the long run. People will want to negotiate with us because they know they are essentially an equal. They're going to get something out of it. You might be negotiating with patients or other medical professionals or whatnot, or even, your boss on a raise. You know, there's a lot of win-win you can get there. You can win by getting a raise, but your boss can win because you're going to be, I don't know, maybe part of your bonus or raise is another year or two of continued work with the company. So maybe it's a contract type thing where you obligate yourself for 2 more years or whatnot. Conflict. Conflict is inevitable. There will be conflict. It's just how you deal with it. So your book has several types of conflict, but I've used those and I kind of modified them to maybe a bigger scale. So when conflict happens, we usually pick one of these few things. We either avoid it, where it's not our monkey, not our circus kind of thing. We have nothing to do with it. We don't want anything to do with it. We stick our fingers in our ears and say la, 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 and just walk out of the room. The next thing we can do is defer. We can wait till after a meeting. We can say, hey, come with me to my office, or come to my office at, let's say, 3 p.m. or something. And you can defer it. You can maybe let the people calm down from this conflict, and then they can come in with cooler heads. This might be a beneficial one. The head-on one, this is where you hear the conflict and you just act on resolving it right there. Depends on the situation. If it's something that needs to be dealt with right away, by all means, take care of it. But is it the right thing to do because you haven't had time to learn about what the conflict is about and maybe the best solution? So it might not be the best way, but it might be the best way to deal with it at first, and then you can also use the defer. Like, let's agree to disagree, but let's talk about it at 3 p.m. You can stop it and then defer it a little. You can also delegate. If you're in a leadership position or management position, you might be able to delegate this conflict down to somebody else, or maybe human resources can deal with this conflict. Depending on what it is. Now, if it's like a professional practice, you might have some type of committee within your organization that deals with this. If it's something else, maybe it's human resources, you might be able to do that, or you can just delegate it down to a lower level manager and let them deal with it. Let's say an office manager, because, I don't know, the nurses are getting up in arms. Who knows what that could be? Maybe the one doctor made a comment and the nurses are all upset. It might be worth delegating that down to, let's say, a nurse manager, and you having a word with that doctor. I don't know. Your situation may depend. The next thing is compromise. So when you get the parties together, you got talking about what happened and trying to figure out what is the root of their problem. Maybe it's just they don't understand each other. Maybe it is somebody made a stupid comment and needs to apologize. Or it could be something where both sides are right, but they need to understand the other side's point of view. So they kind of compromise by acknowledging that the other side has some legitimate claim to being right. We all can be hard-headed. It happens. So conflict, it happens. But how do we deal with it? And hopefully you deal with it, excellent. But if not, you're going to have plenty of more practice. So chapter 16, program management. So programs are structured to bring together several related projects. So a program manager can be over several projects. So they have project managers underneath them. Or they can be kind of like in a management position where it's more of a more defined structure for that organization. So it could be that a program manager is over several projects and project managers. Because if your organization is well developed and they have a program or project management office, they may have a stable or a group of project managers that are just waiting to get assigned to a project. Excuse me. So somebody has to be their manager, and that might be a program manager. And there's a chance that maybe this person doesn't have the title of program manager. Maybe they're an administrator or some other title, but program management is essentially the same thing. Now, I did mention project management office, a PMO. These are more of a formal structured or department, let's say, in an organization that's more mature. They've been around a while, they're a good size. So they've decided that because of how many projects they have, they set up a special office or a department that oversees all these. And the project management office can oversee portfolios, projects, and programs. So a portfolio can have several programs underneath it and projects. Programs just have projects underneath them. Now, all of these things kind of don't really make sense. Your book probably didn't go into it enough, but programs, you can lump certain projects together that are related. Maybe they meet the same strategic goal, or some other aspect that your company is going for. And you can group those projects together and put them under a program. That way you can say, okay, we're going to do a renovation program, but you have a project manager that's doing the emergency room, one's doing an operating room, another one's doing the executive suite. It's all renovation, but you have different people managing it. So if you put them under a program and just call it the renovation program, now that one program manager can oversee all the renovation. And the portfolio is just the same thing, just a level up. So that's really the more strategic level. At the portfolio level, they usually oversee several programs and can have independent projects underneath them. But, if you want to go as far as program management, and I'm sorry, my picture's reversed, but there is a standard out there through the Project Management Institute. You can get certified as a program management professional. I'm actually working on doing that myself right now. But, you just see things more from a strategic view. Maybe not that 30,000 foot view yet that a portfolio manager might see, but maybe you're around 20,000 feet. And the projects, they're on the ground. They're making it happen. So yeah, program management is great because it brings alignment to several programs, and it's easier for organizations to manage the projects they have going on. 17, chapter 17, project management, pharma and medical device manufacturing. So this, I really want you guys to understand that there's many areas to specialize within project management. So using the pharma and medical device, depending on what it does, pharma, we're talking about pharmaceuticals, obviously, but the medical devices, all of these have some government mandated steps in their certifications. Pharmacology, there's like level 1, 2, and 3, or there's like 3 trials, right? And then it goes through the FDA for their review, and then it may become a medication or may not. But we also have to realize that if this product is also going to be used in a foreign market, we might have to comply with foreign mandates, just like we had to comply with the FDA here in the United States. So your company might have to learn these things and figure them out. But this chapter also goes into the waterfall method, which is the traditional project management method. So we have all our tasks, and they're going down from left to right. And as you get closer to the end, it looks like a waterfall because your Gantt chart is showing a steady downstream, and then all of a sudden it pretty much drops off right at the end of the project. If you do a Google search for waterfall, project management waterfall, it should show you many different graphics for it. But also, it gives us different stage gates. So at different points, we can take a look and say, hey, we're at this point. Should we continue or should we stop? So that go or no-go decision. So these could be milestones, like getting through the first stage of a clinical trial, second stage. At each point here, we can decide to stop. And I believe for pharmaceuticals, it's like 90% don't make it to the FDA application because they're found not to be the right formulation, or they just don't make it for whatever reason. The company decides not to pursue it. And also, our chapter talks about Agile. So that's at wow. It's been one of those days, and it's like 11:30 at night. So wow. So it's a process where it keeps repeating over and over. So we do little chunks, but we'll talk about Agile in, I believe it's chapter 19. We'll talk about Agile and how that can help with some of your projects. Maybe it's a more appropriate way than the waterfall. So chapter 18, sustainability and green effort in healthcare. There's been a major push for green and sustainability. For example, buildings are starting to get the LEED, LEED certification because of how they're built, their energy savings or energy usage, how little water they use for, let's say, landscaping. Decisions can be made to make that building green and sustainable. And usually it ends with a cost savings. If you don't need to water the landscaping, you save on your water bill. If you're using more efficient lighting, such as LED instead of a fluorescent bulb, you're using less electricity. So therefore, you have a less of electric bill. Same thing like natural gas and all that other stuff. You might have an alternative heating source. You might choose a different HVAC system for the building because you're trying to reach these certifications, or the actual windows. Now, while I say all this, the major focus in the past has been about facilities. So the building, the grounds, the maintenance, all that kind of stuff has been the major focus. But now there's more of a push towards the personal habits of green. Like, for example, turning off the lights when you're the last one to leave a room. I know that's a big thing that I see at the university is no one turns off the lights when they're the last one. If I didn't turn off the lights after my class, the lights would still probably be on in the morning, since my class is the last one to use a certain classroom. Different temperatures. Some buildings are setting their temperatures a little warmer because of, it uses less energy. Some places are telling you to turn off your computers for the day when you leave. Now, that kind of depends because a lot of computer updates happen at night, but sometimes IT can turn on your computer, run the update, and then shut it down again. Now, hopefully they don't do that and you have something open on your computer, like a paper you're working on or whatnot. But hey, you should save often. I've been bitten by that several times. But another area that we focus on is purchasing and the sourcing of our goods. For example, in an operating room, yes, you can have stainless steel equipment in there, like, let's say, scalpels and all that other stuff. But what about the one-time use things where you just use it, then you send it off to the incinerator because it's a biohazard? Is it better to use metal, which can be cleaned and possibly reused, or is it better to use one-time use? So we really have to make that decision. If we're going to use one-time use, that's going to put more pressure on the purchasing and the sourcing. But if we're using the reusable after cleaning, then maybe we don't have to buy as many, but it's more expensive up front. So our decisions that we make can impact us. So yeah, sustainability and the green effort is becoming more and more of a front issue. It used to be kind of one of those things that has been in the background. Yeah, we knew about it, but we weren't really actively doing anything other than, the building. But now everybody pitches in, right? So chapter 19, the application of Agile in healthcare. So Agile is about incremental deliveries. That's the easiest way to say it. So it's like eating an elephant one bite at a time. Yes, you can eat the whole elephant, but you can't just, swallow the whole thing. So traditional project management does the overall project, and at the end you get a deliverable. So Agile, you get little wins as you go along. But Agile in the past has been really known for software development because you can update your software in little chunks and send out updates instead of doing a whole massive version update and sending it out. I mean, yes, they still do that. They still do the overall large updates, version 1 to version 2. But if you did version 1 to version 1.1, it's a little update. Most people don't have any problems with the small updates. It's the big updates that people generally have an issue with because that changes too much or so much at the same time. So Agile can be used for the quick wins. If you need to do a small project that can get done really fast. For example, replacing furniture. Well, you can choose the furniture, you can buy the furniture, and you can put the furniture in relatively quickly. It might not even be a project, honestly, but it could be, depending on what kind of furniture it is. If it's a patient's room furniture, you might have to do it floor by floor or wing by wing because of the overall expense. So the projects with limited or contingent funding could be a good place for Agile because you can do smaller chunks. Yes, you're going to do the overall, but your funding might be limited or dependent on you getting certain progress done. And quality projects are good for Agile also because we will evaluate what the quality is, the current state, evaluate what might need to change, make that change, and then evaluate the outcome of the change, and then start that whole process all over again. So we can do these things through Kaizen bursts or projects, little quick 2-week things, and we can make a huge difference. It's just identifying where we need to go. So yeah, Agile has a lot of potential out there, and a lot of people are realizing it. You might also hear it called Scrum, SCRUM. So you have Scrum Masters and a lot of other titles. But Agile is kind of like the generic term that's cross industry, not proprietary to anybody. So yeah, that is chapter 19, and that actually ends our book. I hope the book was useful for you guys. So one way you can tell me if you guys like the book is in that survey. So the survey is about giving feedback back to me, and I'll be sharing the data with Dr. Kleist and others in the program, so we can make this course better for the next cohort. So this was the first time the course was ran. I know I've mentioned this several times throughout the semester, but I want to know your thoughts. What did you like? What didn't you like? Did you like me? I'm not going to take it personal. I'm the logical person. So I'm going to look at your data and be like, what do I need to change for the next course? And all your responses are anonymous. So don't worry about me tracking you down because I won't be able to because it's anonymous. And yeah, I honestly want your feedback. So if there's anything else I can do for you, send me an email. In the syllabus, I did say if you scored above a certain level, I would send you a certificate saying that you've gotten 35 hours of project management education. So I'll send that out by default to those who've met that standard, which I believe is everybody, actually. But if you decide to go for your Project Management Institute certification for Project Management Professional, this course was not enough. You need to do much more studying and take some practice exams and stuff. I believe the PMP exam has a 60% pass rate, 60 to 70. So you need to study. There's a lot that was not covered in this course because this was more healthcare focused. But you guys did get a good chunk. So if you guys are interested in a PMP preparatory course, the university does one. It's got to get one scheduled. I believe we're going to do one over the summer. So I have to talk to the dean's office and see if they'll let me do that. I run that course. It's a 13-week over the summer, and I believe I got 100% pass rate so far, but I've only had 3 students. So, the statistics are what they are. If you guys have any questions, even after the course ends, I am more than willing to chat with you or discuss it. Send me an email. We can set up a time to chat. We can do it by phone, Zoom, whatever is preferable to you. And yeah. So don't feel that the course has ended and I'm just some ghost in the wind. I'm here for you guys. So I'll let you guys go. I appreciate you in this course. And don't forget, let me know what you thought in the survey. All right. Thank you very much and have a great day.